Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Pickering Park in Hull and find out why they need more volunteers. We have another look at another dog looking for a home in our featured Dog of the Week. And my guest is Alan Burley from the YMCA Humber, here to talk about a new heritage project. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Hugh Richards. Here's the news headlines.
A new state-of-the-art acetylene plant has opened in Immingham, creating 20 jobs. £35 million has been invested by BOC into the facility, which is a designated global centre of excellence for gases, petrochemical and liquid and hydrocarbon mixtures. They say the plant is groundbreaking in terms of safety, design and engineering. While Sue Graham-Johnston, Managing Director at BOC, is delighted with the new venture as it underpins the company as the UK's leading manufacturer.
We had a site here already, and it was one of our top-tier coma sites, so it already had the right safety infrastructure, the right people, and the right process expertise to handle a product like acetylene. Also, the location's very favorable for the port, so we can import and export goods easily. So for us, it was a great complement to the skills and capabilities that we already had, and we felt like it was the right place to put our new investment.
A new £5 million BAE Systems Training Academy for apprentice technicians opens at Humberside Airport. Today, this centre will provide more than 60 apprenticeship opportunities each year, resulting in 150 plus jobs in the next 3 years, aiming to help budding engineers get a foot on the career ladder. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has met steelworkers during a visit to Scunthorpe today, visiting the Tartar steel plant and meeting steelworkers and their families. Mr Corbyn says he is very much part of the campaign to support and defend the industry. And a spooktacular Halloween activity day has marked the official reopening of Immingham Swimming Pool. The Links Inspire managed leisure facility was opened to the public this summer following a £1.45 million refurbishment by North East Lincolnshire Council. Since August, over 10,000 people have walked through the doors.
Well, as you can see, we're preparing for Halloween, but also Halloween for us marks the relaunch of this facility. So it's the official relaunch opening on Saturday the 31st of October. Oh, we've got all sorts of spooktacular activities planned for the day. We've got fitness classes that are themed for zombie stomps and Halloween romps and all sorts of things. And in the pool, believe it or not, the pool will glow orange. So we have a whole pumpkin for people to dive into and thoroughly enjoy themselves.
And that's the latest.
Pickering Park in Hull first opened its gates in 1911, founded by Christopher Pickering, a Hull merchant. Now the Friends of Pickering Park, of whom there are only 3, need more volunteers and more help. We went to the park to meet them.
The park is maintained by park rangers. Due to cutbacks over successive years, there are no gardeners attached to the park. When we received the grant for this area, which we thought was a wonderful idea, we also undertook the maintenance of it. Fresh volunteers, which is what we're seeking now, could bring us some new ideas. We've been doing this now for 8 years. We all love the park. It could be that someone who has recently moved into the area could have an idea that we've not even considered, we've not even thought about.
Because the average age of the group of volunteers that we've got now is about of a pensionable age. There are younger people, but there are a lot of older people as well. And we need to make sure that the next generation continues anything that's started now, take an interest in the park for their children. And without those people following on, what does the future hold? That's a question you can't answer. And we are asking people to come and spend days and days doing physical work. A little bit of time, and a couple of hours now and again. That's all it takes.
Oh, we'd love more volunteers. The most that we've got working in the garden there are 3 regulars of us and then 2 others that come when they can. None of us are getting any younger. We're all quite older. We'd like some new blood, some fresh blood. with fresh ideas. You know, we could be coming a bit stale, and it would be lovely to have more enthusiasm, people, you know, who can give us new ideas. They don't have to dig for 3 hours at a time. Even just someone to sweep the paths would be lovely.
And we have, at the same time, several of us have quirky senses of humour, so we do have a good laugh and an exchange and a cup of coffee and have a fun time as well. It's not all work and no play.
And if you have a news story you'd like the team to cover, then contact us via our social media pages or call 01472 31553 or 315561. Alternatively, send an email to news@estuary.tv. The YMCA Humber have recently secured some lottery funding to engage young people in the history of the YMCA in the Humber region, more specifically the work done by the organisation during the 2 World Wars. Here to tell us more is Alan Burley, the YMCA Humber Funding and Volunteer Coordinator. Alan, thanks very much for coming in.
Welcome.
Tell
nice to be here.
Tell me about this funding that's come in. Where's it from?
It's come from the Heritage Lottery. They've funded us for £50,000, which is obviously a lot of money to be trusted with. And they've given us to tell the story of the YMCA in this area. For those that don't know, the YMCA have been in the Grimsby and Cleethorpes area since 1906. And some early research has indicated that as back as late as 1855, that there was some activity by a certain gentleman in the national YMCA.
Who was from Grimsby?
Who was from Grimsby. He was a grocer in the Bullring area of the town.
What was his name?
His name was Joe Gifford. And so obviously we'd be very interested to know what that man was doing at that time in his life.
Well, that's just one of the details, the very intriguing details of this fascinating history that might be revealed by this project. But how's the money going to be spent? Because there's a certain amount of archival evidence available from which one can piece together the history. There's a set of documents in Birmingham, I think.
Well, the main money will be spent in a variety of ways. One, it will actually employ a project manager who will actually work with the young people to actually put together this history, culminating in the production of a book and a film called YMCA A Rich History. The link to Birmingham University comes because the National Archives of the YMCA are kept within Birmingham University, and they are our heritage partner. So the young people from the YMCA will be spending time in Birmingham with senior university researchers, looking both at the archives themselves, but learning from these experts how to actually research the information that we're hoping they can find existing within the Grimsby region and other archives.
So these young people are going to be exposed to the sort of rather fascinating detective work techniques of a professional historian going through.
Absolutely, yeah, and obviously it's important that the information that they find out is recorded properly, is mapped properly, and then is archived properly. So obviously a lot of the information that we will find out will ultimately end up in the National Archives of the YMCA. So obviously anybody wishing to research the history of the YMCA in this area in future generations, there will be a place for them to go.
And as you said, YMCA is certainly operating around here by 1906, was it, I think?
1906, we've been here since 1906. That part is fairly well evidenced.
I noticed that a couple of world wars have taken part since then. What was the YMCA's role during the world wars?
During the world wars, we ran hostels. So we supported the troops that were sort of going to the war, coming back from the war. We supported the community. We ran two hostels really through them areas. One was the Imperial Pub in Grimsby, currently closed, but it was a former temperance hotel. So we ran that as a hostel.
Temperance in the sense of no booze?
In terms of no booze.
What an absolutely dreadful thing to do to returning soldiers.
Well, at the time it was how it was, and again it's a story for the young people to actually follow. You know, what was the temperance movement, you know, doing in Grimsby in them times. There's so many doors that we think this project will actually open, that even though I'm a staff member of the YMCA, I'm very close to the actual application because I helped write it with the young people. I wish I could spend far more time with the young people doing it than I think I'll end up doing. You know?
Well, it is fascinating. Of course, the more you find out, the more you want to know. The more you find out, the more questions you have that need further answers.
Absolutely. I mean, I was looking at something. I posted a picture on our Facebook site, YMCA A Rich History, the other day, and it was of the former deep sea mission on Ryby Square, where our current foyer building stands. That's all it was. It was just a picture to say this what preceded where our foyer now is. Just out of interest, I scanned it, I put into the search engine the Grimsby Deep Sea Mission and found out that less than 5 or 6 years ago they actually found the stones when it was built and who opened it in the bottom of the multi-storey flats in Grimsby. So one of these things will be that where are them stones now? How can them young people get to see them stones, record them sort of things?
And that would be the sort of the original foundations, as
absolutely.
it were, of the YMCA.
And that's just me doing a quick scan and a Google search.
And there it is.
What can be found out, I think, could be stunning.
Endless and fascinating.
Yeah.
Alan, come back. We'll talk a bit more about the YMCA after the break. Time now just to stop for a moment, but please come back when we will hear more from Alan Burley and we find another pooch a home in Dog of the Week. And of course, there'll be all the latest local sports news. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we hope to find another lovable dog a home in Dog of the Week, and we'll have all the latest local sports news and results. Still with me in the studio is Alan Burley of the YMCA. We talked about this project to develop the research of the history of the YMCA locally.
Very much, yeah.
If one of the great sources of that is going to be people's memories.
It is. A big part of the research is going to be oral history interviews, and because we genuinely believe that a lot of that information and knowledge of how the YMCA was in the 1930s, the 1940s, varying parts of the century, is in people's heads. So we are putting out an appeal, and we'll continue to sort of ask people, anybody who's got any connection with the YMCA in any way,
well, people who might have been helped by the YMCA stayed there, people whose parents might have done, people who
played sport there. It is a wide field that we're asking people, just come forward, whatever that memory may be.
How should they contact you?
If they contact our media coordinator, Jonathan Byrne, on 01472 693388, Jonathan will obviously make sure them inquiries are dealt with.
And there's also an email, jonathan.byrne, BYRNE, at YMCA-humber.com.
That's correct, yeah.
And that they can get in touch that way.
They can.
Good, that's sorted out the past of the YMCA. What's the future?
Well, the future is very much around, we've got 3 sites in Grimsby. We house around 98 young people every week. Our main hostel, the Peaks Lane Hostel, built in the 1970s, is really coming to the end of its useful life as a building, costing far too much to actually bring up to modern day standards, and really doesn't lend itself to what we want it to be.
Why is it that 1970s buildings only have a shelf life of 40 years?
Well, I think it's I've been involved in local planning in my life, and I think they all follow cycles. And I think it's just, that's the way it is, I think.
So what you're going to replace it with hopefully has more than that
well, that will be the end. We intend to replace it with the Trinity campus, because the idea is that young people don't just go into the YMCA to stay there, they go to actually learn and to really make some steps forward in their lives. They come into the YMCA for all sorts of many reasons, and we want them to actually, when they leave the YMCA, that they're in a better place. They hopefully they've got employment skills, they've got social skills, and they can move out and become valued members of the community, and contributing to that community and thriving as a result. Just worth
emphasising, Young Man's Christian Organisation, it's not necessary to be young, a man or a Christian in order to benefit from the help of the YMCA.
No, it isn't, but it's fair to say that obviously that we are proud of our Christian ethos within inside the YMCA, and we just expect our clients and our staff to at least look after people in a kind and way.
Treat each other as they like to be done by. Exactly all that. And these skills that you were talking about, there's a certain amount of research and placing and precision about what skills need to be taught.
There is. I mean, we're mindful of the fact that because as part of the Trinity campus, we're gonna have dedicated workshops where the young people can be taught skills, but we don't want to simply teach them skills that they get qualified in, then there simply isn't jobs in this local area. So we're talking to local employers, trying to work out where skills gaps are, and aim, along with the employers, to put training alongside that, so that young people gaining the skills then have some realistic opportunity of gaining employment.
Alan, let's just get those details for contacting for the History Project out again. It's at, jonathan.byrne, B-Y-R-N-E, at YMCA-Humber.com. Alan, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
If you have a story for us, or maybe you're a theatre group and have an upcoming production, then please call 01472 3155553 or 315561. Email news@estuary.tv, visit our social media pages on Twitter or Facebook, and you could find yourselves coming in and getting a bit of publicity. Now it's time for Dog of the Week. Give a dog a home.
Dog number 90 is an Akita. She's been with us for a month or so. She came from the Blue Cross with a really bad skin infection. She will not be suitable to rehome with kids, and she will have ongoing problems with fleas. But apart from that, she will be a very nice dog.
Joining me now for a look at some of the other stories in the news today, Erica Barker. Erica.
Hello, Hugh.
What have you found?
I'm going to start then with a story in the Hull Daily Mail. Hull's rat population has exploded due to an increased combination of fly tipping, mild weather and empty homes. So this has been claimed by private pest control specialists.
Right, they have an interest in saying there are more rats, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But they've spoken to a shop down Beverley Road as well, and he's saying that he's selling out of rat poison and traps.
This is very Pied Piper of Hamelin, isn't it?
It is. I'm from Hull and I've not seen any more rats.
No.
But maybe they only come out at certain times.
Not the same times you come out, Erica, clearly.
I don't know.
They say that you live more than about 10 feet away from a rat in a Western European city anyway, don't they?
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot more around than you think.
Rats are a problem. In mild weather, that's interesting.
Yes.
Presumably they survive without being killed by the cold. The fly tipping gives them food, I guess, and shelter.
Yeah.
And what's the danger? Are we going to be facing bubonic plague in Hull?
It doesn't say, it doesn't pinpoint any dangers. It just tells us that there are more around.
Okay, licking the soup from the cook's own ladles.
Did you write that yourself, Hugh?
I did not. Robert Browning wrote that. What else do we have?
Good news for motorists then who have signed up for the Humber tag system for the Humber Bridge. That's going to get underway on Thursday next week. So this is interesting because the Humber tag system, I thought, what is a Humber tag system, as in how does it work? What it is it's a small transponder device, and users fit it onto their windscreens, and that is picked up as they go through by the sensors.
Very slow we've been to do this on continental motorways where they charge a toll just for driving around, not crossing a bridge or anything like that. Then you always just have a tag on. Most cars have the tag. You just drive through the toll booths and you get charged at the other end.
Yeah.
Very simple, very easy.
Yeah, and the money's going to automatically be taken out of the accounts.
And that means that there won't be that bottleneck congestion at the toll booths on the north side of the bridge.
Do you know what I was thinking there? Because I travel over the Humber Bridge every day, and I don't know if there may be some confusion over the lanes. I think it's kind of time will tell when it comes to traffic if people, going through the tag are going to get through quicker, and if that's going to affect the other lane. Time will tell.
Okay, well. An experiment.
An experiment. I might get one then. Oh my God, it's nearly bonfire day. Bonfire night.
Yes.
Are you going to be lighting any sky lanterns?
No, I'm not, actually.
Are you not? Well, the CLA would like you. The CLA is an organisation that represents farmers and rural businesses. Now they want...
The Country Landowners Association?
Yes, it is. And they want all organisers of events to ban sky lanterns. So if you haven't seen these lanterns, the big... What are they made out of? Would you say
big
kind
sort
of
paper boxes or bags with a cradle underneath to hold a candle, which warms the air inside the paper, which lifts it up in the same theory as a hot air balloon.
And every time I've used one, I've been unable to get it in the air as well, because sometimes it burns, doesn't it?
Well, it can burn the paper.
Yes.
But of course, you are sending fire randomly up
Yes.
into the sky to land where nobody knows.
Yeah, and there have been several cases, haven't there, of fires being started from this?
Enough to make it a bit risky, I would have thought. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
But,
so the Country Landowners Association Farmers Lobby Group thinks that what these things might be landing and then setting fire to crops, I suspect.
Yeah, so they are urging people who are organising events not to...
Optimistic
not to
about dry weather in early November. One more, Erica.
One more then. So it's coming up to the City of Culture then, 2017 for Hull. Now, Bob Palmer, who has directed 2 European Capital of Culture programmes, he's saying basically, listen to the cynics, but don't worry, it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be good. Erica, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ferriby were denied their first ever appearance in the FA Cup first round. Ferriby's hopes of a first round FA Cup tie at Doncaster Rovers were dashed as they lost 8-7 to Stalybridge Celtic in a penalty shootout. The game finished goalless after extra time. Scunthorpe United's manager Mark Robbins says he's looking forward to at least another month working with Joe Lolly after his loan was extended. The winger, who had an initial month on loan from Huddersfield Town, has had it extended to another 28 days. In other news, the Iron are holding an infants course tomorrow, running from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. This is for children from ages 5 to 7. Hull City have sold more than 2,500 tickets for Saturday's trip to NK Dons on the back of a win, with Steve Bruce saying he's delighted to guide the Tigers through their first ever League Cup quarter-final after a penalty shootout victory against Leicester City at the Casey Stadium on Tuesday night. And Hull KR head coach Chris Chester says every aspect of his team's preparations for 2016 is under scrutiny as they search for a better start to next season, including switching their training camp to a different location. The Robins boss says he's unhappy with the club's often slow starts to the campaign in recent years and says making a stronger start will be one of the team's main priorities during pre-season training. And that's the latest from the sport.
Thanks very much, Erica. Thanks very much to my guest, Alan, from the YMCA today. If you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv. Telephone Grimsby 01472 31553. But for now, that's all we have time for today. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Rix Petroleum, your local family-owned heating oil supplier this winter.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Persistent rain and drizzle for Friday, drying off later with some brighter spells and high winds and maximums of 16 degrees Celsius. Perhaps some early rain on Saturday, becoming drier and brighter.
Rix, servicing the region's oil boilers this winter from a name you can trust. Get in touch at rix.co.uk or call us on 01482 838383.